The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Exploring the Unknown with Rebecca and Shay. Taking stories from today's news, Rebecca and Shay will explore everything from the paranormal, supernatural, the strange and unusual, unsolved mysteries, and more. Join them as they delve deep into the unknown and mysterious. Taken from news headlines. Water cooler chat with a paranormal twist. Only on Paranormal Buzz Radio.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. This is Shay Carroll, and as always, I have Rebecca Williamson with me. Hey Rebecca, how you doing?
Good, how are you, Shay?
I am hanging in there. We still on self-quarantining, I guess. No, stay-at-home order. There we go.
Yep.
So staying home. Stay smart, stay safe, stay home.
That's the plan.
Yep. And my state got earlier this week. We are staying home until May 3rd.
They extended ours to April 30th. Yep. So who knows? It's Illinois, so who knows what our governor will do beyond that, because we've got Chicago. So
yes, it's gonna be a long month, but we're making progress. We're doing more spring cleaning. We're going to be painting.
Yep, same here. We've been cleaning closets out and doing art projects, and I've been making my daughter learn how to cook. So
there you go.
Yeah, she won't do math, so I'm like, well, you have to measure things. So that's math, right?
Yeah, as long as they don't know it's math, they'll do it.
Exactly.
We did a family karaoke last night.
Ooh, fun.
Oh, yeah. So we're trying to stay busy, trying to stay positive. So.
Yep. I got a car seat for my dog. That's our big news over here. The dog now has a so she can ride and look out the window. So now we dog. We're excited.
Oh, she's going to love it. And she's safe, so that's awesome.
Exactly. Well, her little short doggy legs didn't let her look out the window when we were driving, so it was really hard for her. Now she can look out the window. We're all excited.
Oh, you have to get a picture.
Yeah, I got some pictures. I'll send to you.
I want to see, and I'll share them.
Okay. So yeah, that's our exciting news. Boy, it's wild times here.
That's more exciting than mine. I mean, I bought wooden shims to go under my furniture so I can stop using the Bible to hold up my TV stand.
Well, that's something.
Somebody said it was sacrilegious, but I thank God every day for holding up that TV stand. So,
right, it could have been in your life.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been working on this book, and it's coming together. But yeah, I was writing like some stories from my childhood, which kind of interesting to like look back on it. Because like I was really into ghosts and ghost stories, and like I read all of the ghost story books in my library at the elementary school.
Oh wow!
So they actually had pictures of like the brown lady and that sort of stuff in these books, and told all the stories, and I loved that. And then they came out with Haunted Heartland was a book, and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and R.L. Stein started writing about that point too.
Yes.
So yeah, I read all kinds of that sort of stuff, and then I started getting into like fairy tales. So I've read all the original Brothers Grimm tales, and nice. 1001 Arabian Nights, and all the old Scottish stories, the folk tales and folklore. Yeah, I was really into all of that for a very long time.
I remember being like 10 and I'm guessing at the age, could it be a little earlier, could be a little later, and reading the Time Life Warner books. They were like black, thin encyclopedias about paranormal. Everywhere, like, there's maybe 12, 13 of them, and one was on paranormal, and one was on hauntings, one was on out-of-body experiences, and so I was really little when I started reading this stuff.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, my elementary school library.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just checking out these books. And then, I loved them. And then, like, the Loch Ness Monster, I was totally fascinated with the Loch Ness Monster. And, of course, Champy, the Champlain Monster.
That's near me.
Yeah, is it? Oh, man, that'd be so cool. So, anyway, yeah, I was totally into all that. And Bigfoot, and, I loved all that stuff.
Yes, Bigfoot was another one.
Right.
I mean, I was young, so young. But again, as we've talked about, maybe not on this show, but on other shows, paranormal was part of the family. Like, it wasn't a secret. It wasn't like some people our age that it was not talked about. It was talked about.
Well, and this was another thing when I was going back over that was my grandmother and my mother love old houses. Absolutely love them. And so when we would go over to my grandmother, she'd say, "Ooh, I got us into a house." And we're like, "Oh, yeah?" And so then we'd go, and she had gotten us a tour of some old house. And, not like a public museum type house, but just a really old house. And we would traipse through these people's houses. And then there were like abandoned houses that we would go through too. And this one I remember specifically, I think it was around 10. We go to this house, and it's just down the road from my grandmother's. And my grandma told us the story about the guy who built the house. There's a stream that goes by this house, and she said that he panned for gold, and he was able to find enough gold in that stream to make a ring for his wife.
Aww.
Yeah. So we go into this house, and I remember very clearly standing in the basement and looking up through the holes in the roof. This is how abandoned this house was.
Wow.
And so we were kind of like looking, but all the walls are made out of stone, and it was neat. A guy bought this house about 10 years ago and actually rebuilt it. So it's been saved, and it's really neat. Really, really neat house. And I'm so excited that it was saved. But I didn't realize that other people didn't do this.
Right?
To us, it was normal. Like, my mom was asking neighbors, like, they were tearing down old farmhouses, and she was asking if we could go into them. And so, like, this one I remember going into, and we walked up the stairs, but we couldn't walk around upstairs because there were holes in the floor. But they just up and left everything. There were like old magazines and sardine cans laying all over the place. And Mom took a mirror out of that house that she's got in her house today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They tore it down like the next week, but we went through that house. And so urban exploration before Urbex was cool.
The first time, I don't ever remember not having some type of paranormal experiences, like my whole life. But I do remember when I finally brought it up, and I brought it up to my grandmother, not my mother, but my grandmother, who is diehard Roman Catholic, like strict, like, I mean, we called her the church lady, rest in peace. And I'm like, can this be real? And she's like, well, let me tell you what. And you're talking, again, very little. Come to find out, her and my mother worked at, they worked for this author, Dick Saper, Richard Saper, actually went on to produce and write movies and stuff. They worked for him, and his house was haunted. So even my grandmother, who was strict Catholic, was like, this is what we experienced. And their stories were crazy.
Wow.
Like, yeah. So I don't ever remember, like I said, it was openly talked about. And
well, see, and that's a little bit different with me because we didn't really have, I don't remember any paranormal experiences when I was a kid per se. We never talked about places being haunted or anything like that. I mean, everybody loves a good ghost story, but we never were really ghost hunting or anything like that. I knew of Ed and Lorraine Warren, but it was not something that it occurred to me as being something I could do.
Right.
But they bought the Cambry place when I was 4.
Wow.
And so that's been a part of my life since I was little. And looking back on those experiences, that it was definitely haunted. We just didn't attribute them as being haunted.
Or at least talk about it.
Yeah. Right. No, it was just that door just won't stay shut. You know, I shut it, but it opened on its own. That door just won't stay shut. You know?
Yeah.
You're just, you know, they debunked everything, for lack of a better word.
Or ignored it. I don't even know if debunk is the right word.
Right. Ignore it. Yeah. That's probably better. Yeah. But yeah.
They never brought it up to me, but once I brought it up, like, we're seeing this, this is going on, like, you know, and she was honest, so.
Yeah. So I didn't actually get into the ghost hunting stuff until around 2003. I got one of my friends who knew I loved ghost stuff, bought me a ticket for a ghost tour. So I went on my first ghost tour in 2003 for my birthday, and then like the next night they were doing a midnight cemetery tour, so I signed up to go on that too, of course, right?
Of course.
And then I made friends with the guy who was doing the tours, and he's still a really good friend today, and been ghost hunting ever since. Love it.
Wow. That's pretty cool. I actually was doing research for teams and film editing before I even investigated once. So, I finally started investigating. It was 5 years ago, in the beginning of March. But I did the research for teams. I helped edit videos and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, like I said, I started in 2003 and then made friends with Garrett Moffat, who does the tours.
Yep.
And we started helping him scout out locations, and we went on that tour every year, of course, several times, brought some friends along, and so I've investigated a lot of different places. But
how many? If you had to put a number.
I had to put a number. Oh, gosh.
A ballpark, not exact.
Ballpark, probably around 50.
Yeah. It's not bad. We've done over 50. But this was like a full-time thing for us for a while. We were,
Right. And see, I wasn't full-time. I was kind of doing it here and there and helping Garrett out with scouting locations out a few times, and then just, of course, going on the public investigations, helping him out a little bit with the public tours.
Yeah. Do you do locations over and over again? Because we do.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the best way to get solid information and data.
Right, exactly. To find out if, it's just, I think when you go back to the location, you find out more about, stuff that you can debunk. And then, too, sometimes you have like a dead night where nothing's going on, and then you go back, it's like crazy super active, or vice versa. You'll have a crazy super active night and then go back and have nothing. It's just different nights, you have different activity.
And I love that. I love comparing what night, what happened, and what was going on that made this happen, or nothing happened, or...
Right.
I love doing that. Since we're talking about us, why don't you throw out where people can find you on social media?
Oh, sure. you can either find me on the business page for Cambria House and Farm. So that's CambriaHouseandFarm.com, Cambria House and Farm on Facebook, or Cambria.house on Instagram. And then everywhere else, my personal stuff is Manderly R, Manderlyr. Bonus points if you know what Manderly is.
I've often wondered, and I have never asked you.
Okay, so Daphne du Maurier's book, Rebecca. Okay, Alfred Hitchcock made the movie.
Yep.
So it's like the ghost story without a ghost. But the estate in Rebecca is Manderly.
Nice.
Yeah. So every once in a blue moon,
smart.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those weird bookish trivia things.
I like it. Wow.
Yeah. Every once in a blue moon, somebody will be like, "Oh, wow, that's cool." I'm like, "Yeah, it is."
It's cooler that you got it.
Yeah. Barnes and Noble is usually where.
Yep.
I'm giving my email address at Barnes and Noble, and they're like, "Oh, Manderly."
I would have never come up with that.
Yeah. Anyway,
and
now you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and Garrett's actually helping me put together a tour in November of London.
That's right. Is that public knowledge, though?
Yeah, actually, that is public knowledge. He's working on putting stuff together. Be the November 5th, I think.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's going to London, Hargrove Castle, which is where Henry VIII was king, the Tower of London, Windsor Castle. I don't know. I'm really excited.
I know. I knew about it before it was quite public knowledge, so that's why I wasn't sure if it was public knowledge yet.
Exactly. And Jack the Ripper tour,
take lots of pictures for me.
I will take a ton of pictures. I will take a ton of pictures.
Oh,
but
you have to.
Yeah. It should be a lot of fun. So if you're interested in going on that with us, hit me up. Let me know. He, of course, prices right now are pretty low, so he got a pretty good deal on that. So
that's cool. I wish I could go.
I wish you could go too.
I know, but how much is it?
It's $2,600.
That is not bad at all.
That includes the airfare over there and all the hotel costs and all the breakfast. So the only meals you'd have to do would be like lunch and dinner.
Nice.
So that would be your only expenses besides souvenirs is lunch and dinner. But you access to all of the stuff we're going through. So.
And alcohol.
I'm sure there will be some alcohol involved.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some paranormal investigating going on, and just some of the stories I've heard about, of course, the Tower of London, and Hartlepool. Oh, yeah. Great. I'm excited.
And if you want to find me, you can find me always at Paranormal Buzz Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I think it's Buzz Paranormal. And you can also find me on SIS Paranormal, Supernatural Investigation Services. So today, we have quite the story, as always. Medieval woman's teeth may change how we view manuscripts. So, I am so ready for this story.
Okay, so this story is from January 10th of 2019, and it was published on ArtWorld or artnet.com. So this says the surprise discovery of Lapis Lazuli, I'm probably butchering that word, I'm sorry, on a medieval woman's teeth may change how we view illuminated manuscripts. Medievalists may have to reconsider long-held assumptions about who exactly painted all those gorgeous illuminated manuscripts. The intricate role of the scribe has been popularly attributed to medieval monks, but many of those artists may have actually been nuns. When examining a woman's skeleton from a monastery complex in Dahlheim, Germany, Anita Redini of the Archaeological Department at the University of York was shocked to discover blue dental tartar. Testing eventually revealed that it was lapis lazuli. And the most likely cause is that the woman worked as an artist, licking her paintbrush or inhaling dust while grinding the expensive ultramarine stone used to make the rare pigment. This woman represents the earliest direct evidence of ultramarine pigment usage by a religious woman in Germany, wrote Rodini and her co-authors in a paper published in the Journal of Science Advances. The remains of the women, who would have been between 45 and 60, were radiocarbon dated to the 10th and 11th centuries. Other ruled out theories include pigment transfer from the kissing of illuminated manuscripts, but the practice was not common until some 300 years after the woman would have died. And although there are Greek and Islamic manuscripts that prescribe lapis lazuli as medicine, it was not a treatment in Germany at that time. And the fineness of the powder suggests that it was ground specifically for pigment. Rodini had been studying the teeth in an effort to see what tartar samples could reveal about the monastic medieval diets, while her co-author, Christina Werner, a microbiome researcher at the Germany's Max Planck Institute, was investigating the DNA of ancient oral bacteria. The blue tartar obviously sent them down a totally different avenue. Can you imagine the kind of cold calls we had to make in the beginning? Werner asked The Atlantic. Hi, I'm working with this thing on teeth, and it's about 1,000 years old and has blue stuff in it. Can you help me? People thought we were crazy. We tried reaching out to physicists, and I don't know what you're talking about. We tried reaching out to the people working in art restoration, and they were like, why are you working with plaque? Luckily, they found Allison Beach, a historian at Ohio State University who specializes in 12th century female scribes in Germany, who immediately recognized the significance in the presence of lapis lazuli. Only scribes and painters of exceptional skill would have been entrusted with its use, Beach said in a statement quoted by CNN. The discovery means that women religious artists may have been more common than previously thought. Unfortunately, the monastery where the teeth were found was destroyed by fire in the 14th century, leaving no further evidence of the lives of the nuns who lived there or their artistic activities. Identifying the early contributions of religious women to medieval book production is challenging due to the limited number of surviving books, the precarious documentation of women's monasteries, and the tendency of scribes to leave their work unsigned, explains the paper. But the discovery of lapis lazuli in a woman's teeth means that dental remains could be a new place to start looking for clues about women arts. And has also opened up a new area of research, with Werner studying other tartar samples to see what she can learn about a person's diet or occupation from what's embedded in the buildup. So far, she has found traces of varied materials such as wool fibers, insects, opium, and flower pollen. As for our female scribe's teeth, the find also indicates that the rare ultramarine pigment, previously thought to be available in limited capacities in medieval Europe, actually spread farther and more quickly than previously believed. Lapis lazuli typically comes from Afghanistan, and it would have come to Europe via the Silk Road, a journey of some 4,000 miles. So that's a really interesting article. I really like it, though. It's really interesting to me.
No,
anyway.
It is to me too, because it's just another, there's so many different points, but it's interesting because, again, women are getting more recognition for things they did when they should have got the recognition when they did them.
Right, exactly. And I think it's really interesting to think of the women artists today, and how many of them we have now, and then look at there had to have been women artists then, and now that proof of that, I really like finding the proof of that.
Yes. Didn't they say the way they tinted it that was found in the teeth was 300 years before it actually became popular?
Right. Well, before it was known to be in that area. It had been popular in other areas, but yeah, this was earlier than they thought in that area. So
2 surprises.
Right, exactly. It just goes to show you they don't know everything.
Nope.
I like the idea of nuns doing art. I think that I think there's probably more of that going on than we realize. You know, it's not just guys doing stuff; it's girls doing stuff.
Definitely. I'm sure a lot back then women were doing it, and the men got the credit for it because look how long ago it was.
Right. Exactly.
Especially that far back, women were not supposed to be doing that type of stuff.
Right.
So.
Right. Look at all the talented women artists today.
Yep.
You know, they're obviously talented women artists then. They just weren't given the credit for it.
Exactly.
So it's really neat that they were able to give that woman some credit, even if they don't have her exact art there. They can at least give some credit to her.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, that you'll never be able to actually pinpoint her or her and other women's actual artwork.
Right, exactly. Especially with that monastery having burned down, you know, you'll never, you know, maybe the walls were painted in the monastery and it's all gone. Sad.
It's very sad. At least for now, just her, but at least she's getting recognition for something. I guess that's better than nothing. Right.
And I think the other interesting thing too is who studies dental plaque on 1,000-year-old bodies? To me, that's interesting too, that they're just studying people's dental plaque.
Well, I have two things to say about that. Number one, we need science to be covered in all areas. Number two, when I go, they'll probably have a field day with me.
I know, that makes me want to go to the dentist a little bit more. I mean, I don't know. I don't like the scrapey part, but...
I was going to say, or a little bit less.
Yeah, what are they going to learn?
Yep.
About Girl Scout cookie eating habits for my dental plaque.
Exactly. No, but science is coming a long way, so I think the further science goes, and whether it's paranormal or not, just science, you know, take the paranormal out of it, the further science goes, the more we can learn about our past.
Right, and the more, you know, you learn about these women who are doing things that necessarily weren't recorded by history, but to be able to use the science to pull out the history and learn about these people is fascinating to me.
Me too, because they say, what is that saying? You're never truly gone as long as somebody still remembers and talks about you.
Right.
So as long as we bring this up and give recognition, maybe.
Well, and then, you know, they always say that history is written by the victors. So maybe this is rewriting the history a little bit and giving more credit to the non-victors, you know, as it were.
A little bit.
A little bit.
And not as much as that probably should be done, but because it's not recorded history, there's only so much you can actually change.
Right, because they don't even know the name of this woman, you know.
No.
Which makes it hard and makes it sad, but like I said, I'm just so glad that she's actually getting some credit for some of the work she did, because obviously she did a lot of work.
Yes. And she deserves it, so.
Right.
Sad. Sad and a happy story all in one.
Right, exactly.
All right, guys, on that note, our time is up. We hope you enjoyed this story, and thank you for listening.
Yes, thanks, everybody. If you want to continue the conversation, follow us on Facebook, join our Facebook group, and we'll talk to you all about it.
And if you have a story you want us to do, make sure you share it with us, and we'll give you a special shout-out during the show. Till next week, have a great one.
Thanks, guys.